Hello friends, today again we are going to continue our discussion in the reliability and validity of measurement. As I told that in case of the social science measurement where no ready-made scale available, scale means the benchmark with which we check the any psychological or sociological variable. The aspect of reliability and validity become very important. In the previous class, we discussed about the reliability aspect. So, what reliability was? It was the consistency in measurement or consistency in the response received through using a measurement scale. Now, today we are going to discuss about another aspect of the measurement, that is validity. Now, again coming back to that particular picture which I introduced in the previous class, that a bullseye, okay, which we are just assume that you are practicing target by using a particular rifle. Okay. So, when this rifle may be called, it is reliable. Okay. So, wherever the rifle hit, if it is being used by a well trained maybe user. Okay. So, wherever this particular rifle is hitting, if it is hitting a particular places, okay, consistent manner, then I can tell that that rifle is reliable. Okay. If you compare the first left hand top picture, okay, so that is the that picture is telling that every time the shooter is shooting, okay, it is hitting the different point of the overall circles. Okay. So, now that means the instrument of the rifle is not reliable. Okay. In the second picture, you will find out, though it is not hitting the bullseye or actually the central or the centermost smaller cycle, okay, that is the target. So, but it is hitting a particular place consistently. So, in this case, I can tell that my rifle or the rifle the shooter was using, it is consistent enough. Okay. But whether it is valid, now validity means the rifle must shoot, okay, the ability must have the ability to shoot the bullseye, means the innermost smaller cycle. Okay. So, now if you look into this third picture, okay, that is the left one in the bottommost side. Okay. So, you will find out the sum of the bullet, okay, that hit the bullseye and sum of the outer side of the smaller cycle. Okay. So, in this case, I can tell that, okay, though the marks or bullet marks, okay, those are scattered, okay, but some of them had hit or had actually reached the smaller circle. So, in that case, there may be little bit validity of the rifle is there, but again we cannot tell it reliable. But if you look into the last picture, that is in the bottom side of the right hand place of this whole picture or frame. Okay. So, not only the rifle have reached or all the shot, okay, that was taken by the shooter, okay, that reached the bullseye, or it is all close together. Okay. That means in this case the rifle had the consistency, okay, that is the reliability part, and also it have the ability to hit the right target. Okay. So, this hitting the right target, that is the validity. So, from the research point of view, what validity is? Okay. So, validity means it is the truthfulness of the measure, means whether I am measuring or we are measuring what we think we are measuring, means like if you are telling you are measuring height, okay, so the instrument what you designed, okay, or maybe you are measuring the volume, okay, so instrument you have designed, whether that is able to measure the volume or not, okay, that is the validity aspect. Okay. And this issue become very complicated and this issue become very important, especially in the case of the social science or social or behavioral research measurement. Okay. Because most of the cases I already told you that what we are dealing with, those are not concept like a physical world. Mostly we deal with the construct. The first part is that most of them are not directly observable or measurable. Okay. So, we have to derive their measure from the other phenomena. Okay. Secondly, the construct are often they are not clear cut, means they are multifold, they have multiple dimensions. Okay. So, if we leave apart this multiple dimension aspect also, the first one, that is they are not directly measurable, that create a problem. Okay. So, the phenomena what you are thinking, okay, that is the measure of a particular construct, like it may be a measure of an awareness. Okay. Like if you are a social science student, okay, you already know about the concept of awareness, concept of perception, concept of your attitude, concept of opinion, like that. Okay. So now many times you will find, like if you take the example of the attitude and opinion, okay, though theoretically there is clear cut difference between the attitude and opinion, okay, but the statement which, or the scale which is designed for the measurement of the attitude, it is quite possible that it will, quite sometimes it is possible that you will actually get it confused with the, maybe it is measuring the opinion also. Okay. So that because of the closeness of the different psychological variables, and on the other hand their vagueness in terms of, okay, you cannot observe or you cannot directly measure them. Okay. So that basically add to the this problem of the that basically make this problem of the validity much more complex. Okay. So validity means, okay, whether you are measuring what you are supposed or what you are think you are measuring. Okay. So that is the validity part. Okay. So now, like reliability was mostly concerned with the how the instrument is behaving. Okay. But the validity is actually it concerned with the true nature of the variable. Okay. So reliability has nothing to do with actually the nature of the actual concept of the variable. Okay. So the generally the empirical counterpart of this construct or concept is the variable, relation of which we generally measure in through the scientific process of the research. Okay. So now reliability, whether that particular construct, okay, is actually, or instrument is actually measuring or actually measuring that particular construct. Okay. So that is nothing to do with the reliability. That means reliability have nothing to do with the meaning of the idea behind a particular measurement scale, which, or idea behind the construct which the measurement scale is actually used to measure. Okay. But validity, without understanding or without looking into the meaning of the particular construct, validity is not possible to estimate, or it is not possible to justify. Okay. So now validity is an integrated evaluative judgment of the degree to which empirical evidence and theoretical rationale both, okay, support the adequacy and appropriateness of inferences and action that is based on the test code that is yielded by the measuring instrument. Okay. So it is an inductive summary of both the existing evidence for and the potential consequences of the test interpretation and use. Okay. So here it is very important to note that the validity is matter of degree. Okay. Tests do not have the reliability or validity, only the test responses do. Okay. So all this particular statement you have to keep into the mind. Okay. So in the previous class, when we are talking about the reliability also, I told you people that you can only have an estimate of the reliability, you cannot actually measure the reliability. Okay. So what validity is? Validity is that whether your instrument, or whether how much truthfulness is there in your instrument. Okay. Whether you are measuring what you are thinking you are measuring. Okay. So the validity is, it is basically three broader type. Okay. We call them the content validity, criteria related validity, and construct validity. Okay. So now this content validity, okay, so that basically falls under the theoretical aspect of the validity. Okay. So it is not empirical in nature. Okay. So what content validity is? Okay. So among the theoretical validity, there are face validity, there are content validity. Okay. Sometimes we take this face validity and content validity as equivalent also. Okay. And in the empirical part of the validity, there are criteria related validity and construct validity. Okay. Again, the criteria related validity, that may be two different type. It may be concurrent validity type, or it may be predictive validity type. Okay. The construct validity, okay, so there are a number of way to find out or number of type you can tell, or number of method you can tell. Okay. So there are hypothesis testing method is there. Okay. There are factor analysis method is there. Okay. There are known group method is there, or known group, you can alternatively you can tell that it is the type also, but in actuality they are the different method to find out the construct validation. Okay. So apart from this, there is another group of the validity which is known as the convergent and discriminant validity. So what it is, we will come to that. Okay. So it have its utility in the second part about the second problem in the measurement in the social science, what I told that apart from the construct which are not directly observable, or sometimes, okay, not directly measurable. Okay. The another problem is that that most of the construct are not unidimensional, okay, or cannot be measured as a unidimensional aspect. Okay, so there are always the multiple dimension of a complex psychological construct or complex sociological construct. Okay, so the keeping into mind that part. Okay, so this convergent and discriminant validity, okay, that is important from that particular point of view. Okay. So now coming to the most generally used validity type, that is I already told that based on this there are three type of validity. One is content validity, another is criteria related validity, another is construct validity. Okay, so what content validity is? Validation is nothing but it is the representativeness or sampling adequacy of a content, okay, of the measuring instrument. So measuring instrument, it generally consists of a number of question or statement or items. Okay, so those items are designed in such a way that it can represent a particular content area. Okay, like if you are talking about the attitude towards the gender violence. Okay, so whether this statement which you included into your scale, test, index, whatever you are designing, okay, so that is representing the all aspect of the gender violence or not. Okay, so that is the basically the content area. Okay, maybe you are trying to find out the opinion of the farmers towards the farm law. Okay, so now all aspect of the farm law, whatever is included into the farm law, that is the aspect of the broader universe for the content validation. Okay, and this content validation is generally done in the process of the expert judgment, and that's why sometimes we call it the judgmental validity. Okay, so it is judgmental in nature. That means what we do, we design an instrument. So instrument is basically consists of a number of stimulus. It may be, so for now you just assume that it are a number of, these are number of statement. Okay, so after designing that particular a number of statement, okay, these statements are sent to the expert to find out how much relevant these statements are to represent that particular construct area, okay, by using some statistical procedure. Okay, so it's sent to a number of expert, and then you generally used a number of pooling methods are there, okay, of the pooling of the opinion, okay, and you try to find, or you try to arrive at an average position regarding the different item of that construct. Okay, so by using the pooling method, so there are a number of criteria we will discuss about. Okay, we will try to look into, we will also look into that particular aspect. Okay, when we in succeeding class, when we try to do the estimating the validity by using the methods available. Okay, so for content validation, you have to keep some few things in your mind. Okay, the first is that you must be specific, okay, whenever you are sending a particular instrument, okay, to the expert, okay, for the content validation. Okay, so you must be very clear about a few things. Okay, you must be very conscious about very few things. Okay, the first is that you have to be very specific about the universe you are talking about. That means, okay, you have to let the expert know that this when you are talking about the gender violence, so what aspect you are actually including into that particular construct area. Okay, second is that the specific direction should be given. Okay, specific direction to be given to how to judge that particular construct or particular statement. Okay, or how to score that particular statement. Okay, so this thing must be clear and specific, or otherwise, because many times you will face a particular problem, like you send a particular, you collect a number of statement, okay, and you send it to the expert for the content validation. Okay, now instead of judging that particular statement in terms of that how they are relevant to the overall content area or overall universe of that particular construct, okay, they start to behave like a respondent. Okay, like you send a number of attitude statement which you design to finding out attitude of the farmers towards the organic farming. Okay, so now the expert, instead of judging that particular statement from the relevancy point of view, they actually start to behave like an actual respondent. Okay, so that create a problem with the rating. Okay, so these things, okay, so this thing depends on that how you introduce that particular construct to the expert who are supposed to judge that particular statement in terms of the content validation, and secondly, how much clear cut directives you provided to the expert to judging this particular construct. Okay, so there are a number of methods available. So most of the validation or most of the content validation used for the social science research, okay, that generally falls under this particular category. Okay, we generally proceed with the content validation mostly. Okay, so that means it is the mostly used method of the validity measurement or validity estimation in case of the social science scale construction or measurement instrument construction. Now, content validity method, okay, so there are a number of methods. We will in detail we will also talk about or discuss about them. Okay, so there are content validity index method is there are content validity ratio method is there, or there is relevancy score, overall mean relevancy score. Okay, so that methods are also there. Okay. Now, next type of validity is the criteria related validity. So, what criteria related validity is? So, criteria related validity is that it assumes that a particular measuring instrument or a particular group of statement which you design for measuring some particular concept or construct. Okay. So, there are external variable available also, or external construct or external measuring instrument available also, which are similar to the instrument you are designing. Like maybe you are designing the scale for the measuring attitude of the Indian farmers towards the organic farming. Okay. So, maybe there are the similar concept was also measured, like opinion of the farmers towards this this organic farming, or as such this particular same construct was measured by someone others in the other different country or our same country. Okay. So, now if the measuring instrument you designed, okay, that can successfully related with the already available criteria, we can tell this criteria related validity is fulfilled. Okay. So, it will be much more clear if I give an example. Okay. Like all of you, okay, as a student, okay, for taking entry or taking admission into your current program. Okay. So, you basically, most of you, I think you passed some admission test, okay, and then you take entry into the program. Now, what is the basic purpose of the admission test? Okay. So, that is basically to finding out how much achievement you have or how much achievement potential you have. Okay. So, now this admission test, okay, or it basically look into your quality in terms of that how much you can perform or what will be your performance. Okay. So, now just to assume that the admission test is basically designed for looking into your performance. Okay. So, now based on that, maybe 5 students, okay, they get admission into a particular degree program. Okay. 5 students starting from A was the first ranker. Okay. So, now when you judging that particular admission test, okay, from the criteria validity point of view, that means, okay, so it was basically for measuring the performance. Okay. If he truthfully measured the performance of the student, okay, so after completion of the degree program, we can fairly assume that the pass out, these 5 students, okay, who passed out from a degree program, they will also at the end term or at the completion of the degree, they will almost have the similar ranking in terms of the marks they obtained throughout their degree program. Okay, because that is also a measure of the performance. Okay. So, then only I can tell that admission test was admission test had the good criteria related validity, okay, from this research point of view or from the measurement point of view, which was measuring the performance. Okay. So, now this criteria related validity, okay, that have it is again the 2 type. Okay. We call them the predictive validity, another is concurrent validity. So, now depending on the time period, okay, or depending on the time at which you are measuring or at which this criteria basically falls. Okay. So, it either it is an concurrent validity or predictive validity, like the admission test I was talking about. Okay. Now, if you construct an admission test, okay, so you want to know about its criteria related validity. Now, that criteria, okay, so that will be after, maybe if it is a master's program, so after 2 years only you will get the final performance of the student. Okay. So, that future criteria, okay, if the criteria you are looking for, that will happen in the future, then it is basically the predictive type of validity. Or if the test, okay, can successfully find out any future event, okay, so then and you correlate with that future event, okay, then the future construct, okay, so then it is then predictive type of criteria related validity. Now, if that particular test is, that criteria is available at a present time, or if you are comparing your test with the equivalent test which are already available with you at a present time, then it is the concurrent type of criteria related validity. Now, I think it is clear construct this how the what is the criteria related validity. Last type of validity is that is the construct validity. Now I told that mostly we keep ourselves limited with the content validation, okay, and sometimes, okay, when you are much more concerned with the that how much predictive power is there in your measuring instrument, okay, so we generally go for the criteria related validity. But construct validity is that it is the what factor, it is the most complex of these three type, okay. So it is generally calculated when the scope for the content validity and criteria related validity, okay, you are not satisfied with the content validity and criteria related validity, okay, then you go for the construct validation, okay. Construct validation is telling you, okay, that what factor or construct is actually accounts for the variance in the test performance, okay. So as I already told, it is only computed or it is only estimated when the rest two cannot be analyzed satisfactorily, okay. So now in the criteria, so in construct validation what it is, okay, you basically it is you try to find out that which construct is behind the difference in the test performance, okay. So how it is being done, okay. So first is that you have to identify the construct, okay, or you have to identify the theory, okay, which is telling that how this construct or what particular factor affect a particular construct, okay. Then second part is deriving hypothesis from the theory relating with that or relate it with the construct, and then last part is the hypothesis testing, okay. So now there are a number of method of this construct validation. So one I already told you, that is the hypothesis testing. You try to find out that what are the reasons behind the variances in that construct, okay, and then or what are the affecting factor, and you go for this hypothesis testing. Second part is that you can also do it by other some much simple method, like it is known as the known group method. Known group method, what it is, okay, like you try to find out a group which have some different performance in that particular construct, okay. Like you are developing a scale on the attitude towards organic farming, same example you take, okay. So in this case I can assume that the farmers who are practicing organic farming, okay, they must have the positive attitude towards the organic farming, okay, just assume, okay. So if you are sure with that particular aspect, now you proceed with the testing with this particular your measuring instrument with those particular farmers, okay. So now if you by using that particular measuring instrument, if you can find out, okay, so there those people having higher positive attitudes toward the organic farming, okay, and now if we compare it with the some of the farmers whom you know that they are fiercely opposed toward the organic farming, okay, like this in recent you may all of from the newspaper report, okay, you heard the one of the recent phenomena which happened in the recent problem which happened in Sri Lanka, okay, like Sri Lanka was converted to the organic farming. Now it was quite forcefully, okay, that all the farmers have to adopt the organic farming, and because of that there are other reason also, okay, there was severe food shortage in that particular, their entire agriculture was devastated, okay. So now we can assume that, okay, after this particular problem most of them may have developed fierce opposition to the organic farming regime. Now if you take that particular group who is the opposite to the known group, okay, in having in their attitude towards the organic farming, so the instrument you designed, okay, so in case of those Sri Lanka farmer, okay, so if you test then so this attitude must generate with the negative score, or they must generate that the finding must be that they have the fierce negative attitude or strong negative attitude towards the organic farming, okay. So now if this instrument can differentiate between the two group which having the just opposite characteristics in terms of the construct you are measuring, okay, then I can tell that maybe that my measuring instrument is having quite good construct validity, okay. Also there are method for which is known as the factor analysis. So factor analysis is basically it try to find out the underlying dimensions or underlying factors of a number of statement, okay. So of the response pattern against a number of statement, okay, why people are responding in such and such way. Now another aspect of the validity is there, though it is not directly related with the scale, but rather it is related with the research designing, okay. So that is the internal or external validity. I think I already many times I told you that what is internal validity in the broader way. So, internal validity is the ability to conclude that your experimental variable is actually creating change in your dependent variable. Okay, like similar like the construct validity I was talking about, which construct, okay, what factors are responsible for the difference or the variances which is created by that particular construct or which is there in that particular construct. Okay. So, internal validity means it means that whether your independent variable is the actual the cause of your dependent variable or not. Okay. So, how well an instrument measure what it should measure, again that is your internal validity. On the other hand, the external validity means it is the broader or generalizability of the findings, okay, based on this designing of the research. As I already told, this internal validity and external validity, that is the basically aspect of the research design or the operationalization of the variables or the how the findings of the relationship is applicable to the broader population. Okay. So, external validity is basically it is ability to generalize the result generalize the result of the research for population settings, treatment variable, measurement variable. Okay. So, it is basically representativeness of the findings. Okay. Now, there are a number of threads, okay, you should know, okay, that basically there is a number of important factors which can actually affect the internal validity and external validity of a particular research design. Okay. So, what are the affecting factors of internal validity? The most important or most serious factor in these cases is the history, maturation and testing. I think I already discussed about it when we are discussing about the research design, okay, and particularly some commonly used but some inadequate research design. Okay. What history is? Means when you are designing a research, okay, so especially when you are using a pre-test and post-test type of research. Okay. So, in between the pre-test and post-test, okay, so there may be a number of phenomena can actually affect the whatever psychological construct you are measuring. Like if you are measuring the attitude towards the woman, okay, so in between them may be some violent gender or some violent crime against the woman happened, and because of that lot of sensitization effort was going on throughout the media, okay, and you actually exposed to that particular thing. Okay. So, that is the effect of that is the history part. Okay. So, that may actually affect your dependent variable score, okay, not the treatment. Okay. Second one is maturation. Maturation means, okay, if there is a long time gap between your pre-test and post-test, okay, so there is always, okay, the human organism or the organism, okay, it is a natural phenomena, they generally grow, okay, grow in terms of the physical characteristics, grow in terms of the mental characteristics. Okay. So, this maturation, okay, so because of the change in his mental ability or the physical ability, that may also affect the test score or the dependent variable score. Okay. So, that is the effect of the maturation. Okay. So, that because of that, okay, so the actual change in the dependent variable because of the not your experimental treatment, that is the independent variable, but because of this maturation factor. Okay. Testing, I already told you, okay, that some of the tests are very reactive in nature. Okay. So, if you pre-test them, okay, so in the post-testing, okay, they generally the respondent already, okay, they familiarize themselves especially with the what should be the socially desirable response. Okay. Like the same example I was talking about, like if a particular measuring instrument, okay, which may be a knowledge test. Okay. So in that cases, that if a particular the student is tested with a particular type of knowledge test, so this memory is again too much reactive. Okay. He can improve himself, okay, that this type of testing will be there. Okay. So then that it may actually affect the dependent variable score. Okay. Instrumentation means, especially in case of the social science research, sometimes you will find out a research project may involve a number of researchers, okay, or there may be change in the enumerator of the surveyor or the researcher, okay, who are the research worker. Okay. So, this because of the change in this enumerator or surveyor or who is taking up this research or the research worker, or because of the change in the instrument. Okay. So, again that may affect the dependent variable score. Okay. So, that is the basically instrumentation. Okay. Regression effect, it is an very quite peculiar type of effect. I already explained that in case of the when you are using the very high scoring subject or very low scoring subject, okay, so it is a statistical fact of life that in post testing, okay, their score will automatically regress toward the means. Okay, so if you are using high scoring subject, that will come down towards the mean, and if you are using very low scoring subject only in your testing or in your research, that will regress towards the mean score. Okay, so it is because that some of this high score or low score because of the chance factor. Okay, so in the pre-test they correct itself. Okay, so that is the regression effect. Again, it can actually cloud the relationship between the dependent and independent variable. And lastly, that is the attrition or experimental mortality. Okay, so when you are using maybe a control group and experimental group. Okay, so in the process of the experimentation, maybe these two group which supposed to be the equivalent, okay, it may lost or it may lose equivalence because of the dropping out. Okay, some of the maybe responded, okay, they may in the future stages, okay, they may in the post test stage also, okay, they may actually deny to take part, some of them may actually died also. Okay, so because of that, and when this attrition become differential, means because of the different change in the or different type of losses in the two group, maybe in the experimental group there was no dropout, maybe in the control group there is dropout, maybe in the both group there is dropout, but the persons who left the control group, they may have certain very different character from the who left in the who left the experimental group. So this differential attrition actually make the two group non equivalent, that it again actually cloud the relation between the relation you found between the independent variable and dependent variable. Okay, so these are the some of the factors which can actually affect the internal validity of a particular research. Now, in case of the external validity, that is that affect the generalizability of the research, that some of them actually come from the internal validity part, because if you are not sure enough that whether X is causing the Y, okay, so automatically there is a less accuracy of your findings. Okay, so automatically it affect the external validity of a particular operationalized or of a particular hypothesis or of a particular the relation between the variables. Apart from that, there are certain other factors which are actually affect the external validity of a research design. Okay, so first one is the selection bias. Selection bias, it basically comes from the problem with the sampling. Okay, when you are not using the random sampling, or you are not ensuring the randomness, okay, or you are not ensuring the random selection and assignment of the subject to the different treatment, different group, it actually again it generally give a extraneous variable chance to play their or give the extraneous variable chance to affect the relationship. Okay, so that way the external, it may be one factor which may affect the external validity of a research design. Second, the prior knowledge about the subject. Okay, so now you may say that in a particularly social scientific research, okay, so without knowing about the population, without knowing about the target group, it is not even possible to design a good research or a good research or measurement tool. Okay, so how it is a problem to the external validity. Okay, so now in process of the knowing a particular group, if the researcher, okay, they develop certain biases, maybe, okay, in the process of knowing a particular very ethnic or the very minority group, they develop some negative feelings about this particular group, okay, ethnic or the religious or the minority group. Okay, so now, so that basically affect or cloud the interpretation as well as observation of the researcher. Okay, so it is again it become a problem in that cases, artificial situation of the experiment. Okay, like most of the time to save a research relation from the effect of the extraneous variable. Okay, so this researcher basically try to try to create a situation as much artificial as possible, like especially in case of the educational research you will find out this effort. Okay, so again this artificial situation means the independent variable will have very lesser effect. Okay, and also like the study which is carried out in the field also, like if you think about the field study or the field experiment, which may be the interview method may be employed. Okay, so now in that case also this interview itself it introduce artificiality in the research situation, because interview is not a daily feature of a particular person life. Okay, so it may lift him from his present position. Okay, some of his answer may be because of his this over interest in the particular study. Okay, so he may over express some of his feelings or some of his expression. Okay, another important aspect or the factors which affect the external validity, that is the outside interferences. Okay, like most of the time you generally went to the you go to the field, okay, to interview or to particularly observe or mostly to interact with a particular respondent. Okay, so in the village setting itself or in the rural setting, okay, you will, or even in the urban setting also, you will find out that when you are interviewing interviewing a person, maybe his family members or maybe his neighbors, okay, so they come forward and they start to put their words in his mouth. Okay, so actually you are not getting the opinion or you are not registering the opinion, attitude, whatever response of the your target audience. Instead you are registering the response from the all the others also. So that basically again affect the external validity of the research. Okay, so another very peculiar aspect is there which can affect the external validity, that is the Hawthorne effect. Hawthorne effect, what it is? Okay, so it is based on a popular study which was carried out in the General Electric plant, okay, by Roethlisberger and Elton Mayo. Okay, so to find out the effect of illumination means changing some of the working condition on the productivity or the performance of the group. Okay, so they discovered a peculiar event or peculiar happening, that is that without any particularly change or treatment, okay, the simple knowledge, okay, that a particular study or they are the part of a experimental group, that is also sometimes enough, okay, to change the some behavioral pattern of the responses or dependent variable, in this case, okay, the dependent variable. Okay, so the knowing that they are the part of experimental group that actually affect or that actually improve their performances. Okay, so this particular effect we call them the Hawthorne effect. That means, okay, without any experimental treatment also, okay, the only knowledge that a study is being conducted that may actually change the response pattern of any group of individual or a particular individual. We call this the Hawthorne effect. That particular aspect also can affect the external validity of a research. Okay, so now coming to the end. Okay, so now both this internal validity and external validity, they are mostly the part of the research design, and among these two the most important is the internal validity, because if your internal validity is not, you are not sure about the internal validity, so again it will affect the external validity too. Okay, so that thing you must keep into the mind. So in today's class we discussed about the different type of validity, like content validity, we talk about the criteria related validity, we talk about the construct validity, we also discussed about the what is internal validity, what is external validity, and what are the affecting factors. Okay, and I also introduced that in case of the construct, which are mostly multidimensional in nature, there is another two type of validity is there, that is convergent validity and discriminant validity. Okay, so what this convergent validity and discriminant validity is, we'll have a little bit discussion about that when we actually try to calculate or estimate validity in practically. Okay, so for further reading or for further knowledge, you can always look into these particular books. So with this, we'll end our today's discussion. Thank you.